Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I am Barry P. Cook. I'm here to talk to you about the latest episode of She-Hulk. It was called Is This Not Real Magic? As it starts, a cheesy magic show is going on with a performer named Donnie Blaze, and he's tanking pretty hard at his show until he uses a sling ring to open a sorcerer hole
Portal.
into which a member of the audience somehow ends up stepping, after which she finds herself in the company of goblins and talking goats and demons before going back through the sorcerer hole,
Portal.
this time winding up in Wong's den, into which she drops from the ceiling, interrupting his chill as he's watching The Sopranos. And she's holding what appears to be a human heart. I wasn't clear on that, but yeah. Wong, of course, is deeply upset by this and realizes right away who's behind it, because apparently he's dealt with this Donnie Blaze character in the past. So he visits Jen to see about legal action to prevent him from using sling rings and so forth in his act, or for that matter, in any other way, because he's causing trouble by so doing. And this takes place just as Jen is finishing her dating profile, which itself leads to her going on a bad date. The situation over Donnie Blaze, of course, winds up in court, where Wong ends up summoning the drunk lady, whose name, by the way, is Madison.
With two N's, one Y, but it's not where you think.
And she testifies about what happened to her when she went through the sorcerer hole
Portal.
at the magic show. And that, of course, is horrifying because of the dimension she wound up, in before coming back. And Wong explains how what happened to her is not only dangerous to people like her that are going to continue to have that are going to continue to have this happen to them at Donnie's shows if he doesn't stop what he's doing, but also because any idiot who gets sent through one of these sorcerer holes
Portal.
could end up destroying everything in the known and unknown universe by their stumbling about and wreaking havoc. But the judge says she needs a week or two to decide whether or not to issue a cease and desist to Donnie Blaze. Jen continues to go on dates, but they're not spectacular until she meets one guy who seems really great. But of course, she's on these particular dates as She-Hulk because she wasn't getting any matches as Jen. She ends up taking this one guy home, but before anything can get going, Wong bursts in and tells her that he needs her help to deal with a bunch of demons who came through another sorcerer hole
Portal.
opened by Donnie Blaze during his act, when he performed a trick that somehow went wrong and prevented him from closing the hole,
Portal.
causing him to ask Wong for help. She-Hulk and Wong take care of the demon situation, but just before they send back the final demon, Jen kind of uses one of them to intimidate Donnie Blaze into agreeing to the cease and desist. After this, she gets back to her date, which led to an awkward morning after when the guy woke up and discovered that Jen is in Jen form and abruptly departs. Immediately thereafter, Jen is served with papers by Titania, who apparently trademarked the name She-Hulk and is now suing Jen for using it. In a post-credit scene, which Jen refers to in a fourth wall break as a tag, apparently they call these tags in the biz, Wong and Madison,
With two N's, one Y, but it's not where you think.
are hanging out and watching something on TV because apparently now they're friends, which is hilarious. She keeps calling him Wongers. She's very funny. I really like this episode. I thought Madison
With two N's, one Y, but it's not where you think.
was hilarious. And I thought the court scene was fun, even though a judge would never let an obviously inebriated person testify, but some fun stuff came up there. And sort of in a backdoor way, questions about what the American legal system can actually do in a case like this. Because, at best, there was a verbal contract where when Donnie was training with Wong, just how Wong knows him, he agreed to, treat the dark arts with reverence, which he's now not doing. And so that verbal contract could be enforced, but it's not really a criminal case. So what can they really do? Because it's not a criminal case. Can they just fine him until he agrees to comply? I mean, he ended up agreeing to comply, but short of that, what were they really going to do? And what would they do in the next instance of something like this? What do you do? I don't know. I thought the action scene was cool where they were fighting the demons in the Magic Theater, and the Donnie Blaze character was very funny. The bad dates were funny that Jen went on, but of course, all of those scenes didn't depict the men very well, and the anti-woke crowd is going to use that to prove that the show is woke garbage, which I don't think it is, but it just gives them cannon fodder when they do this. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, these guys were jerking. It's kind of funny, but like it's getting to a point now where it's hard to say that the show isn't piling on, like in an anti-men kind of way, because even the cool guy that Jen ends up on the successful date with turns out to be kind of shallow. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. The thing about that though is Nikki did say to Jen that she's sure there are plenty of great guys that Jen could end up dating through the app. So that's sort of an acknowledgement that, hey, there are decent guys. So I think that's a point in the opposite direction, which is good. But the anti woke crowd will, of course, overlook that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I really like this episode. I think the show is hitting its stride and finding its humor. And this was sort of just a good, like, mid season episode where it just kind of dealt with day to day stuff and breathed a little bit between some of the heavy stuff from the first couple episodes where we were dealing with her becoming a Hulk and her conversations with Bruce, and then the situation with the Abomination and how she had to deal with having to be She-Hulk at work when she didn't really want to. And on the other side, we know that Daredevil is yet to show up, which has me thinking that more serious stuff is coming, which we kind of already know is the case because of the attack on Jen last episode by the Wrecking Crew. We know something is afoot there. While I'm on the subject of the Wrecking Crew, I did not know this because I'm not a big comics guy, but apparently they are from the comics, and in the comics they're kind of like a supervillain team with costumes and stuff, and they were sort of given short shrift in last week's episode because they show up just like in street clothes with a couple of enchanted weapons that they apparently stole, and fans of the comics were kind of upset about that, which I can understand. So I wonder why they did that. I don't know. Maybe they're going to develop them into that as the show goes on. We'll have to see. Maybe they'll show up next time in their costumes or whatever, because I don't think we've seen the last of them by any means, given that they're working for someone who is after She-Hulk. I suspect, of course, that it's Titania, but we'll have to see. Anyway, I'm out of here for now. I will be back, of course, with a review of the next episode. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.